Hi, fifth grade. Good morning. I'm going to read chapter 4 for you of the Bridge to Terabithia. On Friday, we're going to have our friendship picnic that is based off of this story. And then I want you to either see if you can find the movie Bridge to Terabithia or rent it and watch it because it's an amazing movie. I think we have Cecilia and Ellie joining us today in this story. So don't be alarmed if you see a fuzzy, furry puppy and if you see a cute little girl in our story of reading. So far we've been introduced to Jess, who's the boy in this story. And then we've been introduced to Leslie, who's the new girl at school. And both of them are different personalities. And somehow they develop a friendship in the story. The last chapter we read was the fastest kid in the class, and Jess had been working all summer long to train to be the fastest kid, and then Leslie came along and the only girl running in the boys' race, and she beat everybody as the fastest girl in town. And she kind of has the personality that she doesn't really care what anybody thinks, and she just does her own thing. And for Jess, he kind of cares what everybody thinks about. So they kind of have differences there. Also, where they come from also is different because Jess comes from a really big family and he's the only boy and he has lots of sisters. And I think Leslie's an only child. So today we're going to move on with the story and see where it takes us. And I think today chapter 4 is called The Rulers of Terabithia. Because school had started on the first Tuesday after Labor Day, it was a short week. So it was a good thing because each day was worse than the one before. Leslie continued to join the boys at recess, and every day she won. By Friday, a number of the 4th and 5th grade boys had already drifted away to play King on the Mountain on the slope between the two fields. Since there is only a handful left, they didn't even have to have heats, which took away a lot of the suspense in our running. Running wasn't fun anymore, and it was all Leslie's fault. And Jess knew now that he would never be the best runner in 4th or 5th grade. His only consolation was that neither would Gary Fulcher. They went through the motions of the contest on Friday, but when it was over, Leslie had won again, and everyone sort of knew without saying, so that it was the end of recess. At least it was Friday, and Miss Edmonds was back. 5th grade had music right after recess, and Jess had passed Mrs. Edmonds in the hall earlier in the day, and she had stopped him and made a fuss over him. Did you keep drawing this summer? Yes, May I see your pictures, or are they private? Jess shoved his hair off his red forehead. I'll show you 'em. She smiled, her beautiful, even-toothed smile, and shook her shining black hair off her shoulders. Great, she said. See you. He nodded and smiled back. Even his toes had felt warm and tingly. Now he sat on the rug in the teacher's room. The same warm feeling swept through them at the sound of her voice. Even her ordinary speaking voice bubbled up from inside her, rich and melodic. Miss Edmonds fiddled a minute with her guitar, talking as she tightened the strings and her jingling of her bracelets and the thrumming of her chords. She was in her jeans as usual and sat there cross-legged in front of them, as though that was the way teachers always did. She asked a few of the kids how they were and how their summer had been. They kind of mumbled back, but she didn't speak directly to Jess, but she gave him a look with those blue eyes of hers that made him zing like one of the strings she was strumming. She took note of Leslie and asked for an introduction, which one of the girls priskly gave. Then she smiled at Leslie, and Leslie smiled back, the first time Jess could remember seeing Leslie smile since she won the race on Tuesday. What do you like to sing, Leslie? Oh, anything. Miss Edmond picked a few odd chords and then began to sing more quietly than usual for that particular song. I see a land bright and clear, and the time's coming near, and we'll live in this land, you and me, hand in hand. People began to join in, quietly at first to match her mood, but as the song, hey, she just about got your face with her toy. Hey,